Last Christmas, my girlfriend got me this bucket list poster of 100 movies to watch. It's pretty cool, got some good stuff on here, but the problem is, I've seen like 90% of the movies because I watch way too many movies.
Not to worry.
She came out with a genius solution. I am to rewatch all the movies before I can check them off the list. So let's do a little. That means I have to watch 8.3 movies a month, or just under 2 a week.
Now that's f***ing dope, huh?
I've watched 10 movies off the list this month. Technically 9, but I'll explain that later. I may finish this bucket list a bit early, which is a bummer. Maybe comments and recommendations of masterpieces that should be on a sort of honorable mentions list, so I can watch them once I finish this list. There are lots of masterpieces that seem to not be on this list. Now, on with the show. The Untouchables is a fun mob movie about the police taking down Al Capone during America's Prohibition era. A pretty all-star cast, giving an enjoyable performance. Kevin Costner and Sean Connery play two very different cops, with different backgrounds and experiences, where Costner is a wide-eyed ideologue who is dedicated to taking down crime, while Connery is an old cop who has been in the game too long and has grown cynical of the system. These are pretty generic characters, nothing I haven't seen in the movie Seven or a plethora of other cop films. Robert De Niro's portrayal of Al Capone was very fun, but sadly, he didn't have a lot of screen time. I would have enjoyed this film more, I think, if he was on screen more. I don't know. My main problem with this film is the fact that we are rooting for characters that are enforcing such a stupid law as prohibition. It's hard for me to support these characters when they're enforcing such a restrictive and terrible law. It's like the protagonist being police arresting runaway slaves and then returning them back to the plantation. A bit of hyperbole, but still. I gave this movie 3 stars, and I doubt I'll ever see it again. It's a good action movie, a way to kill a few hours, I guess. Oh shit! The poster says Intouchables, not Untouchables. Ugh, stupid me. So forget about the Untouchables. The Intouchables is a French film from 2011 about an underprivileged man taking up a caregiving position to care for a paralyzed man, and they become friends and grow to become better people. Yawn! Did you fall asleep hearing that synopsis? I almost did and I was reading it. This is such an uninspired by the numbers exploitation film. The movie I would most compare this movie to is the 2018 film Green Book. Just a movie designed to pull on your heartstrings without actually bringing anything to the table. The audience is meant to go, whoa, these guys are so different, with different lifestyles. Isn't it funny seeing the black guy from the streets in a high-class situation? He's not acting properly. Isn't that so fucking funny?
And this is what the future is to me. The juxtaposition, two things that you think don't go together. When a black super hip-hop dressed dude gets on the elevator and it's an old lady with Chanel and she grabs a purse. I'll give you a cliche example. What would happen if they actually talked to each other? What would she learn? What would he learn?
In defense of the film, there were some interesting shots, and Closet did a great job acting like he was paralyzed. I didn't see his hand move once. I've given it 2 stars. I wish The Untouchables was on this list instead. A much better movie. This movie is a classic. The Truman Show is about a reality TV show where the entire world is watching one man obliviously living his life in an artificial town where everyone is an actor. The concept is pretty cool and original, and as an audience member, you take a while to figure out what is actually going on and what the gimmick is. This is Jim Carrey's best role, still doing a lot of Jim Carrey mannerisms that everyone knows and loves, but this movie is a lot more serious than any of his other works. This movie is not only a critique on reality TV and our obsession with the media, but is a statement on life's purpose and what people should be doing with their lives. This movie is great, but it's not perfect. I think this movie is a bit too explanatory, going against the show don't tell rule for film, and explaining the world and the situation. It should respect the intelligence of the audience and not baby us through the movie. Still a very fun watch. This movie came out in 1998, way before Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which came out in 2007. It really predicted the rise of reality TV, so I guess this movie is who we blame for reality TV existing. Anyway, 4 stars, very fun. Office Space was pretty funny. It was created by Mike Judge, one of the creators of Beavis and Butthead. It is a fun satire about life in a workplace, commenting on stupid things that happen in an office environment, commenting on such things as mindless small talk with your co-workers, annoying bureaucracy that can lead to more work, and annoying bosses. It follows the character Peter, who suddenly decides not to go to work, to chill out and escape from the prison of office life. It's funny how when he slacks off, it somehow leads to promotions and good outcomes, where hardworking characters get laid off. The great satire kinda gets old after a while. The concept might have been better as a short film instead. Also, halfway through the film, it kinda turns into a heist movie, which is a bit weird for a turning point for the film, and makes it seem to lack an identity. I did love Gary Cole's character Lumbergh though, being this fun bureaucratic boss. It kinda makes me think of a character that could fit well in The Office. I actually think pretty much everything in this film was done better in The Office, kinda not having its own identity. I know The Office came out after this film, but anyway, I've given it 3 stars, as the first half of the film is really funny, and makes some good commentary. Just wish it could hold its quality throughout the film. I used to not like Fight Club that much. I used to make fun of people who loved this film, saying that it was a shallow movie and didn't really live up to the hype. But after rewatching it, I have to say, it's a fucking masterpiece. Who knew? Everyone knows this movie. I don't need to explain a synopsis to you. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. Turn this video off. What are you fucking doing? It has such deep themes and ideas about capitalism and consumerism that made me think about this movie long after the film was over and into the night. I actually watched the entire credits because I was too deep in thought and forgot to turn the TV off. Baby to Critic was a fucking imbecile for not liking this film. All the acting in this movie was superb. Brad Pitt and Edward Norton probably gave career best in this film. They were that good. I actually really enjoyed Helena Bonham Carter in this film, something I don't really say about many of her roles. There are just so many fun side characters that I absolutely loved, especially Robert Paulson, such a fun character. What's more to say, this is probably Fincher's best film, followed closely by Gone Girl. This is a 5-star film, and I'm sad I've been criticizing it for so many years. Ridiculous. Also, on a side note, my Blu-ray had a really cool feature, where the title screen showed a crappy rom-com movie that got corrupted and then played the real title screen instead. What an interesting way to start the film that is commenting on consumerism, by starting as if it's a crappy consumeristic product. I bought this Blu-ray secondhand, so when it happened, I was pissed. I was like, this arsehole gave me the wrong disc. It was a pretty funny prank. I think this is my favorite Ang Lee film. Note that I haven't seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is meant to be great. Brokeback Mountain is a great love story about 2 gay cowboys in a time when gay people were ostracized and they had to hide their true feelings and marry women. The cast is so great. Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger were at the top of their game. I can so respect straight actors doing gay roles, as acting as an art form where you mold yourself into the character. So putting these men in positions that they wouldn't be out of character can really show their dedication to their roles. This movie was probably very influential to the representation of gay characters in media. I remember how the gay couple in Modern Family didn't kiss on screen until 2010. And that was considered such a big milestone for gay representation. Brokeback Mountain is probably the reason why we have movies like Moonlight and Manchester by the Sea. This movie is a lot more graphic than I thought a movie from 2005 could have been. They stopped short of actually showing their dicks, but there are long sex scenes with showing the 2 guys actually kissing. Jake Gyllenhaal said on the Howard Stern show that he might not have done the role if he knew that this movie was going to be so big.
It wasn't calculated like that, and I don't think any of us thought it was going to be what it became,
No way.
I mean, and so, in a way, maybe someone should have sat me down and had a little talk with me about that. But at the same time, it moved me. The script moved me, and I was like, yeah, fuck it.
And it was a big movie, being nominated for 8 Oscars and winning Ang Lee his first Best Director Oscar. Very good movie, 4 stars. This movie is a classic. Saving Private Ryan is one of Spielberg's best films, I would say. It is a World War II epic about a group of soldiers in search of Private Ryan, a soldier whose brothers had all died in the war, and the military has decided for the sake of the brother's mother, they should make sure Ryan survives the war. The production quality is pretty beautiful, with huge set pieces and so many extras to make the film feel so alive and realistic to the real events that happened. There are 2 great battle scenes that bookend the film that feel so exciting and exhilarating. Most of the acting is great, especially Tom Hanks, who gave a stellar performance as usual. I feel maybe there were too many characters in this film to really appreciate any particular character, without the audience getting fully connected to any of the characters other than Tom Hanks's. Still a great film, and I would recommend. 4 stars. Probably my favorite war film, other than maybe Dunkirk. Amadeus is a great biopic about the world-famous musician Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. What makes this movie different than your average by-the-book biopic is that the main character of the film is actually a rival of Mozart's. Antonio Salieri. Salieri is jealous of Mozart's musical skill, and sabotages him and tries to destroy his career and his life out of spite. The acting was so good, especially Mozart, who had so many fun mannerisms that I absolutely loved, such as his signature laugh that was so unique and fun. The runtime was a bit long though, as I did watch the director's cut, which included very long scenes of plays and musical performances that I feel were a bit tiresome. Maybe if I watch this movie again, I'll watch the theatrical cut, not sure. This won Best Picture in 1984, which seems pretty warranted. This movie was pretty incredible. I've given this 4 stars, but I feel it could go to 4.5 stars on a second watch, especially if the theatrical cut cuts down on some of the performances, like I think it does. When I was about 14 years old, this was my favourite movie. I would watch Silence of the Lambs over and over again, and it was so great watching again after not seeing it for a few years. It is about a young detective who is trying to catch a serial killer who cuts off the skins of his victims. She enlists help on the case from a psychopathic cannibal serial killer, Hannibal Lecter. The acting from the 2 main characters is excellent. Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins give incredible performances. Probably Hopkins' best role ever. He is so good as Hannibal Lecter, so scary and intelligent, giving incredible monologues that you just can't look away from. The suspense is well managed in this film, keeping you on the edge of your seat for most of the movie. I don't feel like this movie hit me the same as when I was younger. Maybe it's because I've seen it too many times, or maybe it's I've just seen better movies in the genre, like Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners, which I think is better in all aspects, except maybe not having a performance as good as Anthony Hopkins. It is a classic thriller though, and I would recommend it. 3.5 stars. This may be the oldest movie on the bucket list, and an absolute classic. This old school musical from 1939 really holds up today. It's a fun movie about a girl called Dorothy, who travels to the world of Oz, and must travel to see the Wizard of Oz to help her get home. On her way, she meets up with a collection of friends who help her on the way. It is such a fun movie with so much character, and it feels so alive. I really love how this movie was filmed in black and white, and digitally colorized. This technology is so amazing, and really shows how far we've come with our technology to create film. Some of the performances were a bit questionable though, not being that amazing, and you can definitely tell that it was made a long time ago by the audio quality, which is a bit lacking, as so many films from that era are. It certainly is a good movie that everyone should see, and is important for film culture and film history. A 4-star film, and don't watch the Sam Raimi prequel, it's trash.
And that's all I have to say about that.